So you're building a tech startup in Nepal? That's amazing. But let's be real, the legal side can feel like a total maze, right? Well, today, we're handing you the map. We're going to cut through all that complexity and give you a super clear step-by-step guide to get your company launched and investor ready, based on the very latest rules.
You've got it, don't you? That brilliant game-changing idea. Maybe it's the next big thing in SaaS or fintech or AI. You're just itching to start building. But you also get that a solid legal foundation isn't just a bunch of boring paperwork. No, it's the actual launch pad for your entire vision. And that's exactly what we're here to help you build, the right way. And here's the really great news. Things in Nepal have seriously changed for the better. The whole process is going digital, stuff is getting way more streamlined, and there are actual real incentives out there now, especially for tech and export-focused startups like yours. Honestly, the door has never been this wide open. So you can just forget all those old horror stories about bureaucratic nightmares. Let's dive right in and focus on the modern, step-by-step process to get your company registered and ready for business. Okay, first things first, before you even start brainstorming company names, we have to talk about the legal structure, the vehicle for your startup. And trust me, this choice is huge. It has massive implications for your personal risk, who you can hire, and yeah, your chances of ever getting funded. So let's break down the too many options. On one hand, you've got a sole proprietorship. The thing is, with that, the business is legally you. And that means your personal assets, your house, your car are on the line. But a private limited company? That creates a separate legal shield. It's what gives you limited liability. It's what makes you investor ready. It's what lets you offer employees stock options to get the best talent. And it opens the door to foreign investment. Honestly, for any tech startup that wants to scale, the choice is pretty much a no-brainer. Yep, the private limited company, or PVTLT, is the gold standard for a reason. It's the official framework, right out of Nepal's Companies Act, that gives you the flexibility and, just as important, the credibility you need to build your team and raise money. This is the foundation you build everything on. Okay, so we've nailed down the why. Now let's get into the how. This is your actual roadmap, a step-by-step guide to getting your private limited company officially registered with the Office of the Company Registrar, also known as the OCR. Now, I know this might look like a lot of steps, but it's actually a really logical sequence. Don't worry. You start with the simple stuff, getting all the founders' IDs and digital signatures sorted. Then you hop online and reserve your company name. Now, the super crucial part is drafting your main documents, and we're going to circle back to that in a sec. After that, you submit the application, you get that amazing certificate of incorporation, and then finally, you get your tax numbers. So, the big question. How long does all this take? Let's get real about the timeline. Reserving your name? Super quick. Usually just a few days, as long as your name is unique. The main registration with the OCR? That can take anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks, assuming, all your paperwork is perfect. Then, getting your tax stuff sorted usually takes another week or two. This should give you a pretty good idea for planning your big launch. Okay, I need you to listen up for this next part because it's something founders mess up all the time. Your main company documents, the Memorandum of Association and Articles of Association, or MOA and AOA for short, they are not just some boilerplate forms you download and fill out. Think of them as the actual constitution for your entire company. The key here is to build these documents for a tech company's future. For example, your objectives clause, it needs to say things like SaaS, R&D, and exports right in there. Why? To avoid problems down the road. You'll also want flexible share classes, different types of shares for founders versus investors. You'll need clear rules on how shares can be transferred, and you absolutely need to spell out the mechanics for your ESOP. Getting this stuff right from the get-go will save you from some epic headaches later on. And trust me, this is not just some boring legal theory. Investors, and more importantly, their lawyers, will absolutely pore over these documents during due diligence. Any vague language, anything that seems unfriendly to them, well, at best, it's going to slow down your funding round. At worst, it can kill the deal completely. You have to get this right from day one, period. All right, you can celebrate a little. You've got your certificate of incorporation. That's awesome. But hey, the work isn't done yet. Now it's time to turn that shiny piece of paper into a real, functioning, and legally sound business. So here's your immediate to-do list. First, you need a PAN number to do, anything financial. You'll need to get registered for VAT if you think you're going to hit the turnover threshold. A corporate bank account? Totally non-negotiable. You got to keep your money separate. And the second you hire your very first person, you have to get them set up with Social Security and have rock-solid employment contracts that follow the Labor Act. Okay, so with all the basic plumbing in place, it's time to start thinking bigger. We're talking about good governance. And this isn't just about dodging fines. It's about building a company that investors actually want to invest in, one that's built to scale without falling apart. For a tech startup, compliance looks a little different. I mean, you're probably handling user data, right? So you absolutely need a privacy policy. And your intellectual property, your code, your brand name, that's your crown jewel. It needs to be registered and protected with IP assignment clauses in every contract you sign, no exceptions. And yeah, if you're selling your services overseas, you've got to play by the export rules. Just a quick but really important heads up here. If you've got foreign co-founders or you're planning to raise money from investors outside of Nepal, you're stepping into the world of foreign direct investment, or FDI. This is a whole different ballgame. It has its own set of rules and approvals. Seriously, do not try to figure this out on your own. This is one of those times where you absolutely need an expert lawyer from the very, very beginning. So what do investors actually look for when they're kicking the tires? They want to see that you're running a tight ship. That means a clean cap table. That's just a fancy term for a simple list of who owns how much of the company. They'll want to see a proper shareholder agreement, regular financial statements, and proof that you're on top of all your annual filings. This is the stuff that screams invest in me. So what's the best way to juggle all of this? Simple. Create a compliance calendar. I mean it, from day one. Put in all the important dates, your annual general meeting, tax deadlines, everything. It sounds so basic, but it's a powerful tool that builds discipline and shows investors and everyone else that you're dead serious about this. All right, we've talked a lot about what you should do, so let's wrap this up with something just as important, what you should not do. Learning from the mistakes other founders have made, well, it can save you a world of pain. These are the biggest landmines we see people step on over and over. You've got co-founders who have a massive falling out because they never wrote down their agreement. Companies that literally lose their core IP because they didn't have the right contract with a freelancer. People getting tangled up in currency rules because they're exporting, or trying to save a few bucks by misclassifying an employee as a consultant. Look, the solutions are actually pretty simple, but they take discipline. Put everything in writing, use standard contracts, and learn the rules before you make a move. Okay, let's pull all of this together into one final, super clear takeaway. This is your post-incorporation action plan. Think of it as your what-to-do next checklist for the very moment you get that certificate. Just go right down the list and check them off. Get your PAN number, open that corporate bank account, draft your employment agreements, get the ball rolling on your trademark filings, and create that compliance calendar we talked about. This is it. This is your launch sequence for turning a company on paper into a real-life business. Look, at the end of the day, all this legal stuff, it's just the beginning. It's the solid, stable platform that lets you launch something incredible. The process is clear, the path is there for you. So the only real question left, the big one is, what are you going to build?